Well, we're pleased to be joined by Wafa Al-Udaini, who is a Gaza-based journalist, an activist, and head of the Gaza-based media group, 18th October Media Group. Wafa, welcome to the Freedom Side.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And Wafat, you're joining us obviously from Gaza, and everybody, I mean, the entire world is watching. I think many people are watching in horror as Israel has been pounding Gaza for about 4 days now. And Israeli officials announced that they wouldn't be allowing anything into Gaza, not electricity, not food, not medicine. Can you tell us what the situation on the ground is in Gaza?
Yeah, actually, the situation is extremely difficult here in the Besieged Gaza Strip. And we are talking here about genocide is being against the Palestinian people inside here in the Besieged Gaza. Like the occupation warplanes actually, they attack across Gaza Strip. Like they targeted like several residential buildings, several homes, shops, streets. Everything is a direct target to the occupation wars. And right now we are talking about nearly more than 1,000 Palestinian or more than 900 Palestinian get massacred in the Israeli airstrikes on the people of the besieged Gaza Strip. And in fact, we are talking about right now, just hours ago, the only power plant got shut down due to the blocking of the crossing. You know that the Israeli occupation authorities just today say that they are going to block the fuel and the food from entering the besieged Gaza Strip. And this is exactly what happened. And this is considered like collective punishment and considered war crimes against the Palestinian people. But no one no one do anything to stop this brutality from keep going. The non-stop actually coming here in Gaza, actually it affects everything here. The Israeli warplanes actually are destroying the infrastructure of the Gaza Strip. They mean it. Actually, if you just go to some areas, you find that they bomb everything, and you don't know. There is no reason to hit this to or this building or that building. Only reason that we feel that they are doing this thing is just to harm Palestinian and to cause as much destruction as they can, and to cause as much massacres as they can, as many massacres as, because since like we are talking here about today is the fifth consecutive day of the Israeli airstrike on the Gaza Strip, and actually like we are talking about dozens of massacres are being committed against the people, like entire families got erased, got killed or got massacred during the Israeli airstrikes on their homes. Most of them were in their home. They were saved. They were just together. I think that the only area, the only place that is safe is their home. So they just gather in masses in their homes, thinking that this is like their home can protect them from the Israeli brutality. But in fact, they targeted so many residential buildings and homes, massacring so many families. And most of the victims, in fact, are from the kids. From the Ministry of Health, he told me that most of the victims that we received in the hospitals are from the kids and the women. So talking about, like they were just actually Israeli narrative and Israeli propaganda, trying to convince the world that they are attacking like resistance targets or something like that. But in fact, they are just attacking the people everywhere here across the Gaza Strip. And actually, for the people who do not know that Gaza, actually here in the Besieged Gaza Strip, we don't have sirens, we don't have shelters, we don't have any resorts just to protect us from the Israeli warplanes and the drones. We only have our homes. Every one of us, every place is a direct target to the Israeli warplanes. They control our sea, our ground, our air. So they control everything here in the besieged Gaza Strip, and then they just lie in the media and say that we ask the people of Gaza to leave Gaza and so on. But in fact, where we are going to go, no place is safe. You are targeting every part here in the blockaded Gaza. Every part is being pumped by your brutality, and just they asked us to go to Egypt and stuff, and then they closed the Egyptian, they closed the border, and then the occupation warplanes. In fact, they hit the Rafah crossing, which is controlled by Egypt, but in fact they follow the Israeli orders. In fact, so actually the situation here is really so terrible. Like we are talking here about no electricity so far since the only solar plant, the only power plant shut down. Then we don't have electricity at all, and we are using right now generators and batteries. But we don't know exactly when our batteries and our generators are going to run out of fuel, because we just have just to survive for just a few days. And in fact, like talking about the occupation and how they violate the international laws, but no one, like everyone, turns like a blind eye to the Israeli brutality and violations against the Palestinians here. They are using during their airstrike, they are using the phosphorus bombs, and the phosphorus bombs are internationally banned, and they are using it, and no one just condemn or say anything regarding this. They attacking journalists. They hit a building that housed many media offices. At least three journalists got killed, and since the very beginning of this attack, nearly eight journalists got injured, and others massacred, and others got injured. And in fact, they were just, most of them, they were wearing their press uniform, but they attacked them. And also they attacked ambulances. Nearly 11 ambulances got attacked by the Israeli warplanes. And in fact, that the situation, the health sector before this airstrike or this attack on Gaza, it was on the brink of collapse. And now we are talking about there is no electricity. So this means that also the hospitals are not going to operate because of the lack of fuel, as they announced in a press release yesterday. If they keep blocking the fuel, this means the hospitals also will stop, and then they are not going to receive any of the victims or any of the dead or injured people from the Israeli airstrike. And in fact, like, the situation here actually is going to be maybe in the coming days a catastrophic in fact. But like in the mainstream media, like, we have the distorted image, and they are just accused us of very big lies, and only they hold, or they just express the Israeli narrative. And no one, that Israel prevented the international journalists from entering Gaza, because they don't want anyone to report exactly what is happening. They don't anyone to enter Gaza and then discover that they violate the international law. They want to massacre the people. They want to cleanse to massacre them, and let me say, slaughter them, in fact, because like if you just go to some areas, you feel that these areas, they were just so beautiful places, so beautiful I mean cities, and then now it turns into ghosts areas, and this is really so terrible. And we are talking here about only 5 days of aggression, and it seems that it's not going to be short one like others during like other aggressions. It's going to be long one, as they declared. They are not talking about the truth or ceasefire agreement or anything else. And in fact, the world is accusing us as Palestinians that we initiate this, so we deserve this, which is not true at all. We didn't initiate this violence. Actually, violence begets violence. The Israeli occupation, they started the violence in before 75 years when they occupied Palestine. We as Palestinians, we have been witnessing and subjecting to the Israeli brutality and subjugation and apartheid since 75 years so far, and no one talk about this. And they are just show or express their sympathy with the Israeli hostages and Israeli prisoners that the resistance have, but no one talks about what is happening in the Israeli jails. We have nearly 5,000 Palestinian prisoners inside the occupation jails. We have nearly 170 kids in the Israeli jails, and 40 women inside their custody, in fact. But and not all of that. They are deprived of their basic rights. They just very like before talking to you. In fact, I received news from inside the Israeli jails that they cut the electricity in all the occupation prisons, so they don't have electricity, as it is the situation here in Gaza. And in fact, let me just say that the Palestinian detainees inside the Israeli jails, actually, they have been subjecting since a long years from the Israeli torture and from the Israeli brutality against them. And in fact, you know that so many of the Palestinian detainees, like before they entered the Israeli prisons, they were healthy. They were really in a good health. But in fact, when they got released, most of them got cancer, got chronic disease, and some of them lost their minds. And you know, it's really horrific thing for our prisoners. And recently, Bin Gvir, who is considered like one of the ministers in the current government, actually, in fact, he just many times incited for killing the Palestinian detainees, for depriving them of their basic right of of having treatment, of having surgeries, because so many of them need surgeries. In fact, like for example, Israel Jabi, she spent like 8 years in the occupation jails. She suffers from severe burns in all parts of her body, and she needs more than 8 surgeries to be able to eat by herself, because she cannot eat by herself. She cannot go to the bathroom by herself. She cannot even brush her hair. She cannot do anything with herself. Always she needs someone to assist her. But in fact, the international community and the U.S. administration, they just turns like a blind eye to the Palestinian suffering, because they dehumanize them. They are not consider the Palestinians as a human being who deserve to live. So that's why they just right now they are talking about aiding the Palestinians, the Israelis with weapons, while Palestinians are just terrorists and need to be wiped out or stopped by the occupation army. And in fact, just let me tell you something which is so important. Maybe the others will think, or the world think, that we seek for wars, we like bloodshed and so on. But in fact, no one like to see his beloved one covered in blood or even massacred in front of his eyes. We loved our families. We don't seek for wars at all, but we just fed up of the occupation brutality against our people. Like the suppression and the subjugation becomes like a daily basis actions by the occupation. And everywhere, not in here in Gaza. Here in Gaza, we have been like suffering since 70 years from the blockade, which prevents us from many things, from our basic needs. In fact, and like the situation in occupied Jerusalem and the situation in occupied West Bank, even worse. Like in West Bank, they are seizing and stealing their land, uprooting their fields and their trees. Like the Israeli settlers terrorism, actually, it is relentless. In fact, because like in every single day there is an Israeli attacking a Palestinian. Maybe like what happened to the Wabsha family, or their Muhammad Iftar, and others. They burned them alive. They burned them alive,
Yes.
and no one talks about this thing. In fact, so the thing here is like we have been subjecting to nearly apartheid since long years. And the world couldn't, they didn't see anything, except when they see that the Israelis are being attacked. They think that we are the people who started this, and they didn't know the truth. And now they are talking about so many lies from the mainstream media. And in fact, they are talking about killing babies and the stuff, but in fact they didn't show us anything. There is no pictures, no videos reporting or showing their lies. And in fact, the Palestinian resistance freedom fighters, when they who are right now infiltrated the Israeli settlement, and having like a fight with the Israeli occupation, with the Israeli occupation forces. In fact, they showed us, it's not them who were talking. In fact, like I saw so many interviews with Israeli women. They got interviewed in Israeli media outlets. They were talking about how the Palestinian fighters treated them. They told them that we don't harm women, we don't harm kids, we are not gonna kill you. So they were really shocked of this, and they expressed this thing in the media, and this went
Yeah.
viral indeed. So that this thing makes the Israelis so angry. That's why they want to distort the image of the Palestinian resistance freedom fighters, in fact. But the reality, like I'm just here. I hope that everyone, like the journalists from across the world, can hear me. I am just inviting them to come here to Gaza to report by yourself and to see the brutality, to see the subjugation, to see the Israeli, genocide and massacres that are being committed since nearly 5 days so far. And I'm talking to you, and I'm using some like alternatives to be able to talk to you, like batteries, and trying to get internet from neighbors, actually. Internet, because like the connection here is really so bad, as they hit so many areas here across the Gaza Strip. So this thing affect the internet access, affect the water supplies, and many infrastructure here in Gaza. So in fact, like maybe in the coming days, if the crossings, and if they still ban and block the fuel from entering Gaza, this means that in the coming days we are not going to have even internet. We are not going to contact anyone outside Palestine. no one will know what the Israeli occupation is doing, even the international journalists, because no one is here. They prevented them from entering. They depend on
Right.
some reports from the Palestinians here, and actually there are so many things. Really, I really like to report and really like to talk to you about. But in fact, I think I spoke for so long.
Well,
Um,
I understand why, and I'm so happy we're able to speak to you because I know it's quite difficult for people in Gaza to speak to the outside world right now, given the circumstances that Israel has put the Gaza Strip in. I wanted to ask you before we start to wrap up here, Wafat. I know that we've talked several times before, and you said that this bombing campaign seems much more catastrophic and dangerous than in the past. And we've heard the Israelis say, these very vicious statements about we're going to bomb every corner, we're going to turn Gaza into a tent city, we're going to turn Gaza into a desert, saying everybody should leave. But as you mentioned, they bombed the crossing to Egypt. Where in Gaza is safe? I know that you have children. I can't imagine what it's like having to be in a place that's being relentlessly bombarded this way while having to care for children. So, is there anywhere that is safe in Gaza for you?
Actually, there is no place is safe. In fact, like as I said, we don't have shelters. We don't have anything to warn us that there is an Israeli missiles is coming. They are just dropping the missiles on the homes indiscriminately. And in fact, just this morning in my neighborhood, they targeted a house that nearly 15 members of this family, like six of them got massacred, and still the others are still right now. There are so many paramedics and others that are trying to pull them out of the rubbles, and so far nearly seven are missing so far. They are trying to pull them out of the rubbles. So this is like the situation, not with my neighborhood, like many areas, many cities are experiencing this massacre because and this genocide, in fact, because like they just without warning, they hit houses with the families are gathering and maybe sleeping, or I just remember in day two, family, they were just having their breakfast when they targeted them, and in fact they got massacred. All the entire family got massacred, and like this happens. This becomes really it happens in a daily basis, in fact, like in many families. Here we are talking about today, just today. I just remember that I reported nearly six or seven families uh, got they got their homes bombed by the occupation warplanes, and many members of these families, they just got killed or murdered, and others got injured as well. But since this silence, the whole world is silent against this oppression, and I'm really expecting that this massacre will continue. And like what is the saddest thing here is that we are experiencing like this genocide or this collective punishment, and we hear them. I mean, the international community and the U.S. administration. They say that. We want to aid Israel with weapons to stop the Palestinian terrorism. It's just like something that makes every Palestinians here is really so every Palestinian here angry of this action from the international world. Because really they betrayed us, and how they are talking about human rights, and how they are talking about the violation of international laws and so on, while they see by themselves, they witness by themselves the Israeli violations, by themselves they witness the Israeli using the banned weapons, internationally banned prohibited weapons, and they said nothing. They just aided them with whatever they have. In fact, and regarding like the people here and how they cope up with this, yeah, like like I just remember 2 days ago, I saw a video of a man like holding his slain daughter who got killed in an Israeli airstrike. He was holding her, saying that whatever you do to us or our families, we will never surrender, we will never kneel, because we know that the occupation is doing this thing just to let the Palestinians kneel and just to let the Palestinians surrender, and then saying that stop, we don't want to resist, we have to accept this situation, and so on. But like no one accept to be oppressed for long years. We have been, yeah, as I said, been witnessing or surviving from many Israeli aggressions, but enough is enough. We had enough from them. They have like to understand that this is our will and we are seeking for freedom, nothing more. And it is our right according to the international laws. It's our right as occupied people to resist the occupation. And in fact, like the Palestinians, this is the last choice for them, because in the past they used the peaceful and the popular resistance. In fact, they used it, and and after that, when the Palestinian Authority, when they came to power here in Palestine, they used the negotiation, but they gain nothing. And the other thing, here in Gaza also, we used the peaceful demonstration. And what happened? Like so many people in masses, they went to the separation fence protesting the Israeli
Right.
occupation and siege in Gaza, and calling to return to their land. And they were just peacefully protesting, holding just Palestinian flags and holding some banners. And what happened to them? The Israeli occupation forces who were stationed near the separation fence, they shot and killed at least 300 of the peaceful protesters, among them journalists and paramedics and kids and women, and so many,
And
like thousands also get injured, not only injured and maimed, in fact, because they mean to kill the spirit of the Palestinian people, by when you see like a man who is in his young age, and then he lost his leg or his arm, then this thing will destroy his spirit. And this is what they want. They are trying to destroy the spirit of the Palestinian people by any means. So we use all the ways possible in order to defend ourselves, to free our land. But in fact, the occupation, they didn't understand this language, and in fact, this is the last choice for the Palestinian resistance, because they have enough, and from this occupation, so they have to move on and to protect the people here in occupied Palestine, not only in the Gaza Strip.
well, Wafat, I want to thank you for joining me. And I mean, if I guess, is there one last thing that you'd like to mention to our audience? Since I know that we know we're pre-recording this because you were worried about running out of electricity, given the fact that
Yeah.
Israel has blocked Gaza from receiving fuel.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak up for my people and just to tell the world about the truth and what is happening on the ground.
Thank you, Wafat.